him, it's make or break, basically.
So that'll give him a bit of energy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good news.
And just appeared on the forehead of
He's got him again.
Right hand.
And again, and he wobbles again. Little left hand gets him on the floor.
Imagine a veteran who survived every possible heavyweight war, shared the ring with Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, Alexander Povetkin, and Joseph Parker, and came out of every battle with the reputation of a true monster of British boxing, a man even reigning world champions were afraid to face.
If Itauma wins, the path to a world title gets clearer. The talk becomes reality. If White wins, the comeback is on. The veteran stays alive. This is experience versus youth. Dillian Whyte, Moses Itauma. One fight, two futures.
Now imagine a 20-year-old kid who had to look that monster in the eyes for the first time in his career, with no room for mistakes, no room for caution, and no room for a slow tactical start. The entire boxing world held its breath, waiting for the moment when youth would finally collide with real experience and proven power.
You know, that's a big part of developing a fighter. That the fighter knows that they can depend on themselves, that they're ready for the moments that are coming. And that only comes from fighting increasingly better. You do it the right way, you do it properly.
Nobody expected that test to last less than 2 minutes, or that the monster who had terrified the division for more than a decade would look helpless against a young man whose name the world was only beginning to truly learn.
But he is just 20 years old. What was Anthony Joshua doing at 20 years old? You know, what was Tyson Fury doing at 20 years old? I don't think he was necessarily holding court at presses like that or going on Graham Norton. This is a young man with a long career. He's going to win a lot of belts and he's going to make a lot of noise, and I think he's doing brilliantly.
Moses Itauma entered this fight with a perfect record of 12 wins and no losses, 10 of them by knockout, and a reputation as the most frightening young talent in the entire heavyweight division. The 20-year-old, born in Kežmarok, Slovakia, and raised in Kent, England, had already covered a path that takes most heavyweights many years of careful career building. Itauma fights southpaw and has a rare heavyweight combination of speed, explosive power, and almost engineering-level precision in his combinations. By this, Emsey McKean, and dropped the tough Mike Balogan 3 times.
Carl said it earlier, and he's going for it. Outside of the ring. And that's some super.
But promoters and experts unanimously called the fight with Dillian Whyte the first truly serious test of his young career. For the first time, the young Brit was facing a man who had shared the ring with the true elite of the division, and the entire boxing world wanted to see whether the young talent could handle the pressure of an opponent of that level. Promoter Frank Warren openly admitted before the fight that Whyte would be the first truly experienced opponent in Itauma's path, someone capable of testing not only his physical abilities, but also his mental toughness against a man who had already been through dozens of major international boxing nights. Itauma himself remained completely calm before the fight, telling reporters that he had no intention of forcing anything and planned to stick to the tactical plan his team had prepared, no matter how the veteran chose to fight. Even before this matchup, the boxing community had already started calling him the future king of the heavyweight division. People remembered the famous story from his youth when a 16-year-old Itauma, still wearing his school uniform, sparred with reigning world champion Lawrence Okolia and never allowed him to feel comfortable for a second. 11 of his 12 professional wins had come inside the distance, and most of his opponents had failed to make it past the second round.
Straight away on that front foot. Oh, what a shot! There we go. For dear life. Brilliant electric start. Brilliant uppercut, right hook as well. Gleneth all over the place, and John fast short, right-handed caught him flush. There's another one in his own corner, clubbing left, and the referee's having a look again.
That's a great left hook. He's gone.
That made his reputation as a destructive finisher a constant topic of discussion long before the White fight. That is why, despite his age, a large number of boxing experts entered that night expecting Itauma not to fight cautiously, but to use the same aggressive, destructive style that had already become his trademark.
Everyone expects me to do it, so it's like there's not a lot of joy from it. Maybe one day when I get in an opposition where people don't think I'm going to win, and then I'll overcome it, I might feel different. But as of right now...
Dillian Whyte, known as the Body Snatcher, had become one of the most recognisable and respected figures in British heavyweight boxing by the age of 37, with a professional record of 31 wins and 3 losses. His career included fights against the true elite of the division. He challenged Anthony Joshua, fought the dangerous Alexander Povetkin twice, and won their rematch by impressive knockout, and in 2022 fought Tyson Fury for the World Heavyweight title in front of around 100,000 fans at London's legendary Wembley Stadium.
Find a way to change the pattern. Fury with the uppercut! What a punch! The right uppercut!
Over the years, Whyte earned a reputation as a true survivor, a fighter capable of taking huge shots from some of the hardest punchers on the planet and still moving forward. That reputation was a major part of the image fans and journalists had built around him.
One of those moments. Does the torch pass on to Moses Itauma? Or does Dillian Whyte derail a future superstar? Written off but not out. Is this the last outing for the veteran, or a chance to remind everyone of his legacy? It's a crossroad.
By the time he faced Itauma, Whyte was riding a 3-fight winning streak after returning to the ring following a suspension related to a failed drug test, which was later linked to a contaminated supplement. He stopped Christian Hammer and later reached the 7th round against Ghanaian Ebenezer Teta.
That's just strange goings on there from Teta. That one looked a bit low, man. Lovely uppercut there from Whyte.
Big combinations. Yeah, give Tete credit for his heart, guts for staying with Dillian, the Body Snatcher!
Showing that even at an advanced age, he still had enough skill and endurance to remain dangerous for any heavyweight contender. That combination of enormous experience, proven punching power, and the reputation of a true warrior was exactly why many experts approached this fight with real caution. They believed Itauma was finally about to face his first real test. Bookmakers and analysts agreed that despite the obvious difference in physical freshness, Whyte had enough experience to drag the younger man into a difficult, exhausting fight, survive long enough, and force him to work beyond his usual 2-round comfort zone for the first time in his career.
Good work from Dillian Whyte, big combinations. Lucas Brown will try and chat one more, but he can't. Lays him out.
The veteran himself remained confident before the fight, reminding reporters that he had already dealt with far greater pressure on the biggest stages in the world. He said the opponent's youth did not scare him at all and only gave him more motivation to prove that experience could still stand against raw talent.
These have all the makings of a kind of future heavyweight king here. Are you kind of appreciating that you're getting all this kind of knowledge?
You've said it all there. Like, I'm blessed. I'm blessed to be in the position I am. There's a lot of fighters around this world that don't get the opportunity I've got, so I'm definitely grabbing it with both hands and I'm trying my best to make the most of it.
From the opening seconds, Itauma immediately took control. He quickly closed the distance with a sharp jab and fired a series of heavy shots to the veteran's body, visibly shaking the experienced Brit. Whyte, used to longer tactical fights, looked completely unprepared for that pace and power from such a young opponent. Within seconds, It was already obvious how badly the physical advantage of youth was affecting the veteran's reactions. Itauma kept pressing, drove White back to the ropes with a controlled combination, and finished the sequence with a precise right hook that sent the veteran to the canvas. White found the strength to get back up, but his legs were badly shaking. The referee did not hesitate and stopped the fight at 1 minute and 59 seconds of the first round.
Why you got to watch it and find out. But one thing I will say about Moses is he's a very good fighter, good little boxer, good puncher, and a lovely kid as well. It's like a sponge.
The victory over Dillian Whyte became a true turning point in Moses Itauma's career, finally transforming him from a promising prospect into a legitimate contender for the biggest titles in the division.
For Dillian, you could tell he just weren't there, and it's as we said, a really tough style for him, a really sharp southpaw, and Moses is very good. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
A man who had been in the ring with Joshua, Fury and Povetkin could not even survive 2 minutes against a 20-year-old kid. And that said more about Itauma's talent than any words ever could. For the boxing world, the result of that night was even more obvious. The monster of British heavyweight boxing, who had terrified the division for more than a decade, left the Riyadh ring with his reputation shattered, while the young heir to the heavyweight throne took another confident step toward the biggest titles in the sport. He proved to every doubter that his destructive power worked against anyone, whether it was a newcomer to the division or a battle-tested monster who had survived dozens of wars.
We're just looking at fights to kind of get me into that later round, because I feel like with Usyk, I feel like I've got a better skill set than him, but I feel like towards the later rounds, he'll just outdo me, because I've never been in that sort of fight.
After the victory, reporters flooded Itauma with questions at the press conference about who he wanted next. The young Brit showed no fear about the scale of his ambitions and said he was ready to fight anyone the promoters put in front of him, including names like Joseph Parker and Agit Kabayel. Looking further ahead, he did not even rule out a fight with unified world champion Alexander Usyk. That combination of youthful confidence, real destructive talent, and already proven ability to deal with genuine monsters of the division is exactly what makes the story of Moses Itauma one of the most exciting in modern heavyweight boxing. Rarely does a young fighter live up to massive expectations so convincingly and so quickly.
You shout a couple names out and I'm there. Can I say a couple of names to you?
Usyk, he's not shouting Usyk.
There's a few saying Usyk.
Don't push the horses.
For the boxing world, that night in Riyadh became a point of no return. After it, the skeptical voices questioning the reality of Itauma's potential became almost silent.
We'll wreck all them old men out of the division. Usyk, AJ, Miller.
If a man who had shared the ring with the absolute elite of the division could not even survive 2 rounds, then talk about a new heavyweight king was no longer just a bold prediction from journalists. It was becoming a serious and reasonable conclusion from experts who had watched this career develop from the very first professional fight.